And citizens are not the only ones disagreeing, but also the leaders they elected. Yesterday, a state legislative forum where lawmakers answered Minnesotans' questions quickly turned into something less productive. Alex Tejada breaks down what happened and explains where that leaves us here in the state. Alex.
Well, Caitlin, there was certainly nothing Minnesota nice about Monday's Zoom forum. Tense in the beginning, House Majority and Minority leaders were disagreeing from the start. That was before Senate Majority Leader Paul Gazelka reiterated claims of election fraud, and it went south from there.
The Minnesota way of doing things is still stable. We disagree on certain things, but our values are the same.
All Minnesotans shocked by last week's events.
I just was speaking in contact with Senate Majority Leader Gazelka, a man of honor, a friend.
Yet they weren't on friendly terms Monday.
Senator, you didn't need to come to Minneapolis-St. Paul to find out what happened during that time. There were folks from Brainerd that were there. This is all of Minnesota. This is what we've been talking about, of quit trying to divide us.
And certainly not an agreement on all things.
A lot of people feel like it was not a fair election. Anytime you have a very, very, very close election, you're going to have a lot of frustration. And I think it's important that we listen.
But not much listening happened at the legislative forum, which quickly became little more than an argument.
It's really time for the minority leader to quit lying, because we were on Minnesota Public Radio together. I'm speaking.
If I hear that it's only one side, I'm going to stand up and point out all of the violence and lawlessness through months and months.
Well, I'm just going to weigh in, and then I'm going to sign off, because I too am incredibly disappointed in this conversation.
Walz stayed on the call, but was critical of Republicans.
How do we find common ground when we have people that will not say the election was fair? How do we find common ground when basic medical facts are disregarded?
If this becomes nothing but a political circus, I'll be really disappointed, but I know that it has that potential.
Both Minnesota Republicans and Democrats condemned last week's violent actions at the nation's capital. With that being at least common ground, how do both sides expect to move forward and compromise in a year where Minnesotans are looking to their representatives?
It's unrealistic to say that we are going to agree all the time. We certainly do have disagreements with the governor. I don't think that means we can't work together. That's the responsibility of leadership. We have to figure out common ground for the best of all Minnesotans.
I think there is a way to get work done, and I certainly am willing to work with anyone who's willing to work with me. I think we have significant challenges, however. I think it's really difficult until we can have a mutually agreed upon reality of the validity of the 2020 election, of the science around COVID and what experts are telling us we need to do. I think there's challenges there for sure.
Both Haley and Bolden say priority number one is helping Minnesotans financially recover from the pandemic, as well as make a vaccine available to them as soon as possible. Both things you can imagine will require bipartisan agreement. Reporting live in the studio, Alex Tejada, KTDC News.
All right, thank you, Alex.